So, hi, Marilyn.
Hey Dave.
We thought that in this episode, what we'd talk about is why did we come up with this name, New Humans in Training? Where did that come
Mm,
from? Hmm.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
we were just talking a little bit about it before we started recording, and it means something to us because it sort of comes from our experience. Um, so maybe shall I just keep going and just say
yeah.
because
Please go ahead.
we're just it means something to us, but also it's good for us to talk about it because I think we'll learn something by even talking about it now. That
Yeah,
and it may not be the same between you and me. It could be different. So for me, I think it's that um, in my life, I did things without really knowing why I was doing them. Or I did things repeatedly in loops, the same thing over again.
mm,
And for me, a big thing about being a new human is that I, I, I almost felt a bit like a robot. Like, how can I get out of this? Like, like completely
mm,
stuck in something. So for me, the sense of being like a new human is to maybe it's got some steps. So one step is why am I doing that? Like why am I doing that job, or why am I in this relationship, or why am I really doing the same thing every day? Like it's like Groundhog Day is a good example. That movie. It's like
it's a
so.
great movie.
So it's like, why am I
Yeah,
doing that? So the first thing is why am I doing the same thing? or or even it could be those are big picture things, like relationship, job. But even I notice now it gets smaller. Like, oh, why am I reacting in the same way I react to that sort of situation? Could I do it differently? So I think for me it's like first step is why am I doing that same thing and could I do it differently? And I think there are quite a few steps in this, but there's another step which is important for me is, well, what am I going to do differently? Because sometimes it's like I think I did things repeatedly because I didn't know what else to do. So
yeah,
it's almost like it's good you actually the person who came up with this title, and I said, yeah, great title. So that word training is really good because it's almost like sometimes you have to learn something before you can try a new way, and you might have to ask someone, how do you do that, or whatever, you know.
yeah,
So we don't automatically, yeah, very, very much for me, and I guess for other people, like I don't know how to do it differently. So it's like,
yeah,
so therefore I can't do nothing, which sounds silly because it actually would be much safer sometimes to say, look, I can't do anything because I don't know what to do, or I keep on making the same mistake.
yeah,
But I found in my life that there was like a force pushing me that I couldn't do that. Like I have to do something, you know. Like
yeah,
I can't not do something. I can't. I don't think I really. I can't think back now, but it's like I can't remember ever saying to someone in a situation that really mattered, look, I I don't want to do anything because I don't know what to do, or I keep on making the same mistake.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
always
Like there's
feel,
a push to,
yeah, there was always a push to do something, and then the something was the same old thing. So,
yeah.
okay, that's the thoughts that come up for me about new humans in training.
So, from what you're saying, does that mean that new humans in training, what it means to you personally, is that like that's something that you've been starting to do over the past years, that you've been starting to realize that you do need to train in learning how to do things differently and in a way to be a new human, because the human that we have grown up and learned to be is maybe not benefiting yourself, not benefiting humanity in some way. Is that kind of how you relate it to yourself?
Yeah, and actually, from the Pisa Institute in China, they had this idea about that that it sounds a bit critical, but it's sort of like they had this idea that humans actually aren't very intelligent in a way because
Mm-hmm.
if you take like a relationship for example, like say we're I mean we could be happy in a relationship, but say we're not happy in a relationship. So
Mm.
basically, I guess logically, you do one of two things. You try and sort it out, right?
Yeah.
And if you can't sort it out and you're unhappy, you would leave and try something else, maybe.
Yeah.
But most people, like, it's almost like a definition of suffering. Maybe we suffer because we don't do either. We we aren't able to sort it out, or we don't try and sort it out, and we don't leave, and then we sort of complain like, oh, my life is not very, very good, but we didn't do one of those two things. But a lot of people do try, obviously. So,
Yes, a lot of people do. They
so
go to therapy.
yeah, they do. They will try and discuss things, but uh, one good analogy is like soldiers. Like if we heard like a soldier complaining about, oh, I'm going off to war, we say, really? Well, why did you join up? You know, like you don't expect that from a soldier. Like if you don't want to go to war, well, get out of the army. But if you're going to war,
Yeah.
you could die or be really injured or something, but you wouldn't complain about it because that's what you decided to
You
do.
signed up for it?
You signed up for it. So that's
So,
that's intelligence in a way.
mm, well, yeah, I mean, intelligence could be perceived a lot of different ways, but intelligence can be being in touch with your intuition, um, really using your wisdom from the experiences that you've had, learning from what happened to you, and then really trying to apply a different way according to how things went in the past and saying, okay, that didn't work out, so now I'm going to try to do it a different way and see if I can kind of learn from what life has shown me, the feedback that I got from life, and then adjust it. That could be a type of intelligence, right?
Absolutely.
So, so you're really using that feedback to grow and to understand, to adjust, to recalibrate yourself. Um, yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. There's more in it, but that's like there's, there's more I've noticed recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
it's
You
just
want
that
to share it?
it's just that we've been talking a lot, well, quite a lot recently about fast versus slow because it's sort of funny in the trains here in Sydney. The trains are quite busy. You know, they go through the city, and you have to climb up and down stairs to get off usually, and things like that. And and quite a few people have accidents. They fall over, especially older people. So they've actually got a message on the trains now. When it first started, people were saying, "What's that mean?" You know, and the message is they just say it sort of. It doesn't seem linked to anything, but they'll just say a message to say, "Slow down."
Nice.
And first, when it first started, people would be looking around saying, "What's going on? Why is the message coming in slowing down?"
Yeah.
It's just trying to sort of remind people just take it easy, you know, and you'll have less
Yeah.
accidents and you won't bump into each other, and you have a better day in a way.
Well, and we understand just from what we've been, I guess, looking into is that everything in a way is a code. Everything emits an electromagnetic field. So even the word slow down, when you look at it, it has an energy field. It has a vibrational field. So by looking at that immediately, it will kind of connect with an understanding, maybe an intuition, even maybe at a soul level. It could connect for some people. Some people it might trigger. For some people it might trigger them to see that it says slow down.
When you say that, I feel it now. When you say at a soul level, I can feel it going deeper into me. Wow, it's very good you say that.
Yeah, I really see the impact of things that we see visually. I've been thinking about that a lot, and maybe we can talk about it later in later episodes. But it's just amazing how everything has a code, everything has an energy field, it has a vibration, it emits something. And depending on where we're at, where our mind is at, what the conditions of our mind are at, what state our mind is in, it will then respond in a certain way to that thing, that object, or that word, or that person. You know, you could see a person and that person will just calm you immediately, and another person could see that same person and feel really stressed
Mm.
or upset, you know? So that's where karma comes into play. Karma, or past, the past that's coming back around. But yeah, we have been talking about slow versus fast, and how a lot of I think there's more practices that are available now and that are being promoted that are emphasizing slowing down and trying to also maybe to bring an understanding to people that fast is not necessarily efficient. And I think more and more people are starting to pick up on this a little bit. I'm hearing it more in society, that someone will say, like, I rushed to get to this thing, but then something happened. Whereas this person took their time and they had a great experience, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll never forget, maybe 15 years ago, I worked at a clothing company and my boss had a Porsche, and so he loved going fast in his Porsche, and I had my car at the time, I forget. But we left work at the same time, and we were parallel, we were next to each other, and there was a lot of traffic. But he was constantly trying to cut in between the cars, constantly. He couldn't sit still for one moment, and he
Yeah.
kept cutting and cutting and cutting. And no matter how much he cut and how fast he went, we always ended up for about 30 or 40 minutes. We went down the same road together, and I kept driving up right up to him. And me, I was going super slow. I was listening to music and enjoying, and I didn't want to go fast. And he kept looking over at me and going, what the hell is going on? Why are you still next to me?
Yeah.
And I never forgot that. I got such a kick out of that day, because basically he reflected myself to me, because I used to be exactly like him. I was constantly trying to rush and get through traffic and do shortcuts, and sometimes people would literally get in front of my car to slow me down. I had people get in front of my car to slow me down and make signs at me like, hey, slow down.
Wow.
And of course those people triggered me at the time, but now in hindsight they probably saved my life, maybe.
Yeah. And you appreciate them as well.
Oh yeah, so much appreciation now. At the time I didn't, but in hindsight, yes. All the things that happened were, I think, in a way, like even getting into a car accident on a macro scale, if you pull out a little bit out of your life and you look in, even an accident that almost kills you, if you really can look at it from the outside in, you could see it as life was slowing you down. Life was trying to slow you down. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I see it, at least.
I used to have so many car accidents, not major ones, but little prangs, that the guy who repaired my car, we were friends because I used to go and see him so often. It's like, wow, I used to have I had so much impatience. I was so trying to be quick all the time.
Yeah, a lot of us, and it's. I feel like, and maybe this will go back to new humans in training, because that was the premise of this discussion. So we want to make sure we don't get too far off track here either. But that's what came up in a way, was that if you look at something slowing you down, that's where the training comes in a way, because you have to have some level of awareness to train in anything.
Mm.
I think it goes for anything, whether you're training to make coffee, or you're training to work at a supermarket. You have to have a certain level of awareness, because you have to be able to take information in. And so you have to be awake, aware, pay attention, care, be interested. curious. All of those things I feel are quite important if you're going to train in anything. So I think that goes the same for life. If you're a person who really wants to, for example, have a better relationship with your spouse or your partner, or you want to get along better with your boss or your coworkers, it almost takes a training also. You need to train at that, because we in a way we're coming back with so much history, so much baggage with one another. We can use the word karma. There's other ways, there's more scientific ways of putting that, but we could just use a word that maybe is more globally understood, the laws of cause and effect with karma. So we're coming back with these people who we obviously have some history, some past to work out. So it'll be really easy for us to get into situations where there's conflict, misunderstandings, instigations, because that's the nature of coming back together with people, is we're coming back to work things out in some capacity. So there will be friction. So in a way, if we don't want to just go along with our inbuilt programs of just, I'm born, I'm a human, I'm going to live, I'm going to get as much as I can, be as successful as I can, make as much money as I can, screw enough people, as many people as I want, and just get everything that I can out of this life. And then, no responsibility once you leave that.
I was like that. Were you like that? Trying to get on and...
At one point, yeah. At one point, I was in survival mode, and all I wanted to do was just, how do I say it? My focus, my attention was on getting what I wanted, when I wanted it, how I wanted it. I knew there was more to life, but I kind of wasn't looking in that direction. I was kind of just looking at what was gratifying me in that moment. And I paid the price for that, meaning I was given many, many signs to show me that that was not my path, and that was maybe not the correct way to go about my life.
When you say this, so think about this topic then, new humans in training, it sounds like the way maybe we both were when we were younger, and now you're talking about, the people you're going to meet again coming back and karma and things like that. It's like the change maybe we both made was that trying to be in tune with what's around us, and not just, oh, me, because it's just like that. You're not in tune with what's around you.
Paying attention, right?
Yeah, and also how you're relating to it. Even like some people are very good at this. Recently I saw a restored car in the town where I'm living, and I think that car was made the same year I was born, or just about, and it looked absolutely beautiful. So I thought to myself, that person must have a certain love or energy with that car, because the car seemed to be like alive. It was so fantastic for an old car.
Yeah.
The paint looked like more than paint. It looked like something was coming out of it, like some energy. And I thought to myself, well, whoever's looking after that car is really in tune with it. Really.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a person, the car.
Yeah.
So that seems like a shift.
Yeah, being in tune, paying attention, being aware. Yeah, it is. I guess in a way, what do you think? That kind of needs to come with time and experience, right? And falling flat on your face about 100 million gazillion times.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We could talk so much about this, because I'm noticing day by day it's developing. I'm noticing where I've got some situation. I wanted to work out where I was going to live. So I thought, oh, I need to do something. Oh, maybe I need to get a job so I can pay some more rent, or I need to do something. But I'd already put that message out that I like living where I'm living.
Yeah.
And I realized, hey, just wait. If there is some sort of arrangement, some sort of consciousness, some sort of system going on, whatever you call it, give it a chance to respond to you. Because if it's like a person, that person might say, "Hey, can you wait? I'm just trying to arranging things here. Give me a few days. You told me what you want, but why do you keep on pushing?
Yeah, there's a lot of there are many parts to this thing coming together. Give me time to put it together.
And then it was so funny, because then what happened is a relation came back and said, "Oh, I worked out how I can help you stay where you like for the next year. Wow.
Nice.
But I didn't ask
There you
that
go.
that relation that. He just
Hmm.
knew what I wanted, and
Yeah.
he had to sort some things out from his side, and then he just came back and said that. But that was not normal for me, because my anxiety would
Yeah.
normally say, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I could push, push, push,
Yeah.
push.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, I mean, we could go into a whole thing here, but just very briefly, that ties into maybe control, that we really feel
Mm.
that we control our life, we control circumstances, we control everything, our thoughts. I love what Wayne Dyer used to say something like, basically the ego says, okay, like when we're born, the ego goes, okay, yeah, thanks for taking care of things for 9 months. I got it now. Thank you. You know, like creation was doing its thing, creating us,
Yeah.
bringing us into being. And then the moment we're born, everyone goes into, I got this. Like, it's all up to me now. So the mother and the father and whoever, the siblings or whoever it is, everybody gets this immediate feeling that they are the ones who are actually manifesting everything that's happening.
Mm.
And it's the complete opposite. But in this reality that we're in right now, it seems that either there's a veil that's being pulled over our eyes, or there's something that we're completely forgetting, that I think little by little we're starting to remember. Some of us, many of us now are starting to remember, but that actually that we are creation, that we come from source. All of us come from one source of energy. And so if we can communicate with that source and really let it guide us and help us along the way, exactly like the situation you just talked about, just surrendering and giving it time, and then letting time come back to you and go, hey, you got a place for the year, you know?
But it's fabulous what you're saying, because just that idea that we all come from the same source, that, what is it, the first element is hydrogen. So therefore, there's hydrogen in basically everything. Even if it joins up with other hydrogens and we call it something else, it's still made of hydrogen. It's in everything. So in a way, a piece of concrete is my cousin.
In a way, yeah. If you think about it, that's exactly what it is. I love at the observatory where I work, there's a whole panel, there's a display, there's an exhibit of the elements, and when they have the school program, there will be a museum guide who will display it and say, okay, and it presses a button and all the lights go up in the elements that make up the human body. Then there's another button that he presses, all the elements that make up a star.
Wow.
And then another one that lights up all the elements that make up a planet. And the kids are like always blown away. They're like, what? What do you mean? We're made up literally of the same stuff? And he goes, yeah, yeah. And for a lot of kids, it just goes way, way over their head, because all they can think about is, you know, when are we getting our snack? But some kids are just completely blown away. You could see it in their eyes. Their eyes like light up like stars, and it's so beautiful to see that.
That's a beautiful exhibit.
It is.
It's interesting about the fast versus slow issue, because like we tend to talk a lot, you know, you and I, don't we? We can babble quite a lot. You know, maybe me, but yeah.
Which sometimes is appropriate, and sometimes it's like, no, get it on.
And you said you have a talk you like to go and see.
Oh yeah, there's a talk at the center where I live.
So you like to go and listen.
A little meditation and talk. Yeah. I was wanting to go. It's just nice. I find that when I'm in a room with a lot of people, and we all have this common vision of that we're there to slow the mind down, and all those minds are together for that same vision of slowing the mind down and taking in some information that is going to assist us to be more present, more understanding, more caring, more compassionate. I just find it's like feeding the soul. It just feels so nice.
Wow, that's so lovely. I can feel it. Like it's like I can feel some energy in my body. It's so great. So even though I'm not there, I'm getting some benefit.
You're benefiting from it. Yay!
Maybe others are too. Do you want to
Yeah.
go? We could stop here, because I feel we could talk about this topic for so long.
We could, but what's cool is that I think we're going to be talking about this topic a little bit in all of the episodes, really, because it's really going to be involved in everything, the training aspect, because the core of why we're wanting to share what we're sharing is to share how you and I both come from a background where we met, the place where we met was really like a very intensive training in learning how to be a new human being, which means that, okay, you're born here into this body with certain thought patterns and behaviors and rules. Rules are very important when we're growing up. What's right, what's wrong, what's good and bad, what you should and shouldn't do. And so here we are as adults. You're 69, I'm 50. And we had basically, in a way, a little bit of like a rule book some years ago that said, this is how things are done. And then we both, in a way, at least for me, I crashed and burned, meaning my body said, no, whatever you're doing, however you're thinking, however you're behaving is not beneficial to yourself or to others. And I felt it deeply within. And so I started seeking. And I think in some capacity, which you'll share more about later, you had the same thing. You really saw like whatever I'm doing is just not working. It's not working anymore. And so this is where our search began to learn how to be a new human. And for me, that's very meaningful to want to be a new version of what you are. So you're validating what you are. We're validating that we're human, that we're in this physical body with the five senses, and they're serving this beautiful, beautiful purpose, collective purpose. But at the same time, we're understanding that whatever we were born into, in terms of the mindsets that we were born into, is not benefiting humanity and not benefiting ourselves.
And the thing we could have many discussions about this, but the thing that I'm finding now is that I needed to, it's almost like on the outer shell I had this character, this personality, or these habits, the things I did. I had the sense I had a soul, or there's some depth to me, or something like that. But the bit on the outside was always distracting me because it was ruling my life, so it was getting me all the troubles. So it's almost like I needed to understand that and start to deal with that sort of character thing, to realize in a way,
personality.
The personality, and a way to realize that's just the story of me, or what I inherited from who came before me, my ancestors and stuff. That's the story.
Yeah.
And if I can start to deal with that, then I can like peek down and see, oh, there I get more to who I really am at the core.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that new human in training, I guess, could be getting to who you really are, the essence of you.
The essence. What basically goes on after the body retires. Yeah. I mean, I just had an idea. Instead of saying the word death and dying, we could just say, well, you can't say retiring because, retiring is already a word that's used a lot, but it is a type of retiring. You're retiring your body from living, what we call living.
That's right. I think that's why some smart person came up with the thing, passing on to another state.
It really is. That's exactly what it is. Okay, so we're going to finish this one. This is really nice. Thank you for your time, Dave. And everyone, whoever ends up listening to this one day, maybe. Thank you.
And thanks, Marilyn. I hope the talk's really good, and I hope we can talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll go and see what it's all about, and maybe I'll share it on one of the talks that we have about what these talks are like. Have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, wherever you guys are, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.